Grandmother's story beneath the mango tree. The village became quiet slowly. Not all at once. First, the children stopped running between the huts. Then the goats settled near the fence. Then the smoke from the cooking fires rose gently into the evening air, carrying the smell of warm beans, roasted maize, and firewood. Above the village, the moon lifted itself over the dark hills. It was round and soft, like an old mother watching over her sleeping children. Near the great mango tree, Grandmother Noka sat on a woven mat, her back resting against the old trunk. The mango tree had stood in the middle of Nomasiko village for longer than anyone could remember. Its roots held the soil like old fingers. Its branches stretched wide above the ground, giving shade in the day and comfort at night. Grandmother Noka's hands rested in her lap. They were thin hands, marked by years of pounding millet, washing clothes in the river, planting cassava, and holding children close when the night was cold. Her eyes were tired, but kind. Around her, the night was alive with small gentle sounds. Crickets sang in the grass. Fireflies blinked near the banana leaves. Far away, the river moved quietly over smooth stones. And beside Grandmother Noka sat a young woman named Amara. Amara was not a child anymore, though sometimes her heart still felt like one. She had returned to Nomasiko after many years away. She had gone to the town beyond the hills, where the roads were louder, the nights were brighter, and people walked quickly as if they were always chasing something they had lost. But Amara had come back quieter than when she left. She came back with a small bag, 2 dresses, 1 pair of sandals, and a hat that had grown tired from carrying too much. No one in the village asked her many questions. That was the gentle way of Nomasiko. People noticed pain, but they did not always point at it. They simply made space for you near the fire. They gave you warm food. They sent a child with water. They left an extra mat near the doorway. And Grandmother Noka, who had known Amara since she was small, had only looked at her and said, "Come sit with me tonight, my child. The moon is patient. It can listen." So Amara came. She sat beneath the mango tree, wrapped in a faded shawl, with her knees drawn close to her chest. The village around them was peaceful. Huts with grass-thatched roofs stood in a wide circle, their walls glowing softly from the cooking fires inside. Banana trees leaned together at the edge of the compound, their broad leaves whispering whenever the wind passed through. Clay pots sat beside doorways. Chickens slept on low branches. Somewhere, a baby murmured in sleep and was soothed by a mother's quiet humming. The whole village seemed to be breathing slowly. In. Out. In. Out. Grandmother Noka looked up at the moon and smiled. "This is the kind of night," she said softly, "when stories walk by themselves." Amara turned to her. "Stories walk?" Grandmother Noka nodded. "Yes. In the daytime, people carry stories. But at night, stories carry people." Amara did not fully understand, but she liked the sound of it. The old woman shifted on her mat and looked toward the dark footpath that led down to the river. Fireflies floated there in small golden sparks, appearing and disappearing like thoughts. "When your mother was young," Grandmother Noka said, "she used to sit where you are sitting now." Amara's eyes lowered. Her mother had passed many seasons ago, when Amara was still young enough to believe that every person who left would return by sunset. Grandmother Noka continued gently. "She was a quiet girl. Quieter than you, even. She listened more than she spoke. But when she laughed, the whole compound became bright." Amara held the edge of her shawl. "I don't remember her laugh very well anymore," she whispered. Grandmother Noka did not rush to answer. She let the crickets speak for a while. Then she said, "That is why some stories must be told slowly. So the heart has time to remember." A soft wind moved through the mango leaves. One ripe mango dropped somewhere behind them with a small, gentle thud. Amara looked into the darkness. "Grandmother," she asked, "why did you call me here tonight?" The old woman smiled, though there was something deep in her smile. Something hidden, but not frightening. "Because the river has been calling your name." Amara blinked. "The river?" "Yes." Amara gave a small tired laugh. "Rivers do not call people." Grandmother Naka looked at her with patient eyes. "They do not call everyone." The fireflies near the path glowed a little brighter, or perhaps Amara only imagined it. Grandmother Naka leaned back against the mango tree. "There is an old story in this village," she said. "Older than your mother. Older than me. Older than the roof grass and the clay walls. It is the story of the Moon River." Amara looked toward the distant sound of water. "Our river." "Sometimes." "What does that mean?" Grandmother Naka smiled. "It means the river you see in the day is not always the river that moves at night." Amara was quiet. The moonlight lay gently on the ground between them. Grandmother Naka's voice became lower, softer, the way voices become when they are not only speaking to the ears, but also to the heart. Long ago, when Nomasiko was still young, the people believed that every heart carried a hidden calabash. In that calabash were all the small things that made a person whole. A mother's song. A father's blessing. A friend's kindness. A promise made under rain. A dream planted in childhood. A forgiveness not yet given. A love not yet understood. Amara listened. "Most people carried their calabash carefully," Grandmother Naka continued. "But sometimes, life became heavy. A person would walk through sorrow, through disappointment, through shame, through hunger, through loneliness. And without knowing, they would drop something from their calabash along the road." The old woman looked at Amara. "A laugh. A memory. A dream. A belief that they were still worthy of peace." Amara swallowed. The words felt close to her. Too close. Grandmother Naka looked back toward the river. The elders said that when the moon was full, the river collected what people had lost. Not things like coins or clothes or cooking pots. No. The river collected the soft things. The invisible things. The things the heart needed but did not know how to ask for. A small breeze passed. The fire bent low, then rose again. And if a person was ready, Grandmother Naka said, the river would call them. Amara's voice was barely above a whisper. "What happens when they go?" Grandmother Naka smiled. "They listen." That was all she said. For a long moment, the two women sat quietly beneath the mango tree. The night was warm, but not heavy. The kind of warmth that rested on the shoulders like a blanket. In the distance, someone closed a wooden door. A cow shifted in its sleep. The river continued moving, unseen but present. Amara looked at Grandmother Naka. "Did the river call my mother?" The old woman's face softened. "Yes." "When?" "On the night before she married your father." Amara turned fully now. What did it tell her? Grandmother Naka's eyes shone faintly in the moonlight. "That is not my story to tell quickly." Amara almost smiled. "You are always saying that. Because quick stories are like unripe fruit. They may fill the mouth, but they do not feed the body." Amara lowered her head and smiled properly this time, just a small one. Grandmother Naka noticed. "There is," she said softly. "Your mother's smile is still in you." Amara looked away, but the words warmed something inside her. Above them, the mango leaves stirred again. And then, faintly, from the direction of the river, there came a sound. It was not loud. It was not frightening. It was like someone humming from very far away. Amara held still. Grandmother Naka did not move. The sound came again. Soft. Low. Almost like a lullaby sung through water. Amara's fingers tightened around her shawl. Did you hear that? Grandmother Naka nodded. Yes, my child. What is it? The beginning. Amara felt her heart beat a little faster, but not with fear. It was something else. Wonder, perhaps. Or memory waking from sleep. The fireflies along the path began to gather, floating in a loose line toward the river. Grandmother Naka slowly rose from her mat. Her knees were stiff, but her movement was calm. Come, she said. Amara stood too. Now. The river does not call loudly twice. They began to walk. Grandmother Naka moved with a walking stick, slow and steady. Amara stayed close beside her. The village slept behind them. The huts glowed softly. A last thread of smoke rose into the sky. Somewhere, an elder coughed once, then all became still again. The path to the river passed between banana trees and small gardens of cassava and beans. The soil was cool beneath Amara's sandals. Moonlight rested on the leaves, turning their edges silver. Fireflies drifted ahead of them, not rushing, simply glowing and waiting. Amara had walked this path many times as a child. In the morning, she had run down it with other children, carrying clay pots and laughing when someone slipped in the mud. In the afternoon, she had followed her mother there to wash clothes, watching the cloth bloom in the water like bright flowers. In the evening, she had come with her father to fetch water for the goats. But tonight, the path felt different. Not strange. Just deeper. As if it had been waiting for her to walk it slowly. Grandmother Naka said nothing for a while. Her stick touched the ground in a soft rhythm. Tap. Step. Tap. Step. Crickets sang around them. The leaves whispered. The river hummed. After some time, Amara said, Grandmother. Yes. Why do people lose parts of themselves? The old woman looked ahead. Because they think they must put everything down in order to survive. Amara breathed quietly. Is that wrong? No, Grandmother Naka said. Sometimes a person must put something down to keep walking. But after the storm has passed, they must return for what belongs to them. Amara looked at the fireflies. What if they don't know where they dropped it? Grandmother Naka smiled. That is why the moon is kind. They continued. Soon the banana trees opened, and the river appeared. By day, the river was ordinary and brown-green, with smooth stones along its edges and reeds bending over the banks. Women washed clothes there. Children splashed in the shallow parts. Fishermen set small traps near the bend. But tonight, under the full moon, the river looked like a path of silver cloth. The water moved slowly, shining as if it carried pieces of the sky. Amara stopped. She had never seen it like this. The fireflies spread across the riverbank, blinking softly among the reeds. Grandmother Naka lowered herself onto a flat stone and rested both hands on her walking stick. Sit, Amara. Amara sat beside her. The river hummed again. This time, the sound was clearer. Not words exactly. Not music exactly. But something between the two. A sound that made Amara think of warm arms, evening cooking smoke, and a song she almost remembered. Her eyes filled with tears before she knew why. Grandmother Naka did not touch her. She simply stayed near. Sometimes that was the greatest kindness. To stay near and let a person feel what had finally arrived. The river moved. The moon watched. Then Grandmother Naka began to speak. When your mother was young, she was afraid of leaving home. She loved your father, but she feared the unknown road. On the night before her wedding, she came to this river and sat where you are sitting. Amara looked down at the shining water. She was afraid. Very. I never imagined her afraid. Grandmother Naka chuckled softly. That is because children think mothers are mountains. But mothers are people first. Amara let that settle. The old woman continued. Your mother asked the river, how do I know if I am walking toward the right life? And the river answered her, not in words, but in memory. It showed her every moment she had been loved. Every hand that had helped her. Every lesson she had been given. And she understood that she was not walking alone. She was carrying her people with her. The river rippled. A small circle of moonlight widened near the bank. Amara leaned forward. In the water she saw her own reflection. But not clearly. The reflection shifted and softened until it was not only her face. For one breath she saw a woman behind her. Young. Smiling. With eyes like hers. Amara's heart caught. Mama. The image trembled. Then it became only water again. Amara pressed a hand to her chest. Grandmother Naka's voice remained calm. The river gives gently. Do not chase what it shows. Let it come and let it go. Amara nodded, though her throat felt tight. The night seemed to fold around them. The river began to show small pictures. Not like dreams. Not like visions that shouted. They were quiet pictures, rising and fading in the silver water. Amara saw herself as a child, sitting outside a hut while her mother oiled her hair. She remembered the smell of shea butter. She remembered her mother's fingers patting her hair gently. She remembered being impatient and wanting to run. Then the water changed. She saw her father carrying her on his shoulders through tall grass, pretending he was a giant. She had forgotten that completely. Forgotten the way she had laughed. Forgotten how high the world looked from his shoulders. Then the water changed again. She saw herself years later in the town beyond the hills. She saw the room where she had slept. Small. Noisy. Lit by a weak bulb. She saw herself folding clothes late at night, tired but refusing to cry. She saw the people who had looked through her as if she were not there. She saw the mornings when she woke up and felt nothing at all. Amara closed her eyes. I don't want to see that. Grandmother Naka's voice was gentle. Then breathe, my child. You do not have to enter every room the past opens. Sometimes it is enough to see the door and know you came out. Amara breathed. In. Out. The river kept moving. When she opened her eyes again, the water had changed. This time, it showed the day she had returned to Nomasiko. She saw herself walking into the village with her small bag. She saw women pause from pounding millet. She saw children whisper. She saw herself feeling ashamed because she thought everyone could see that she had failed. But then the water widened the picture. She saw what she had not noticed. Auntie Sarah had quietly sent her son to sweep the floor of the old hut before Amara arrived. The potter's wife had placed fresh water by her door. Old Mzee Keto had repaired the loose wooden frame near her sleeping mat. And Grandmother Naka had sat beneath the mango tree from afternoon until evening, waiting for her to come. Amara covered her mouth. I thought they were disappointed in me. Grandmother Naka looked at her with such softness that Amara nearly cried again. People who love you do not count your broken pieces before welcoming you home. The words moved through Amara slowly. Like warm water. Like light entering a room that had been closed for years. The river hummed. Fireflies blinked. And then, somewhere across the water, a bird called once in its sleep. Amara looked at the old woman. What did I lose, grandmother? Grandmother Naka did not answer immediately. She looked at the moonlit river, then at Amara. You lost the belief that your life could still become gentle. Amara lowered her eyes. There it was. Plain and true. She had not lost everything. She had lost gentleness. She had learned to wake quickly, walk quickly, answer quickly, hide quickly. She had learned to expect disappointment before it arrived. She had learned to hold her breath in rooms where no one cared if she could breathe. And even after coming home, she had carried that tightness with her. She had sat in the village as if she was still in the town. As if peace had to be earned. As if rest was something she no longer deserved. The river moved softly against the stones. How do I get it back? Amara asked. Grandmother Naka smiled. The way all lost things return. Slowly. Amara waited. The old woman lifted one hand and pointed to the river. First, you listen. So Amara listened. She listened to the water sliding over stone. She listened to the reeds touching each other in the wind. She listened to the crickets singing without needing anyone to praise them. She listened to Grandmother Naka breathing beside her. She listened to the village sleeping behind them. And beneath all of it, she listened to her own heart. At first, her heart sounded tired. Then it sounded sad. Then, after a long while, it sounded young. Not childish. Just young. A part of her that had been waiting patiently for her to return. The river hummed again. Amara did not see another picture. Instead, she felt a memory. Her mother's hand on her cheek. Her mother's voice saying, "Do not become hard just because the road is hard." Amara's tears came then. Quietly. No loud sobbing. No breaking. Just tears flowing the way night rain flows from a roof. Grandmother Naka placed a hand on her back. "There, my child," she whispered. "Let the river take what is too heavy." They stayed like that for a long time. The moon crossed slowly above them. The fireflies rose and fell in the grass. The night did not hurry them. When Amara's tears stopped, she felt tired, but lighter. Not healed all at once. Not changed into someone new. Just softer around the edges. As if the tight knot inside her had loosened. Grandmother Naka reached into the small cloth bag tied at her waist. She took out a tiny object and placed it in Amara's palm. It was a small wooden bead, smooth with age. Amara looked at it. "What is this?" "It belonged to your mother." Amara held her breath. Grandmother Naka nodded. She wore it on a string around her wrist when she was young. On the night she came to the river, she gave it to me and said, "Keep this. One day, if my daughter forgets how loved she is, give it to her." Amara stared at the bead. So small. So ordinary. Yet it felt heavier than gold. "My mother said that." "She did." Amara closed her fingers around it. "Why did no one tell me?" Grandmother Naka looked at the water. "Because some gifts must arrive when the heart has room to receive them." The river shone. Amara pressed the bead to her chest. For the first time in many years, she did not feel abandoned by memory. She felt held by it. Grandmother Naka slowly stood. "It is time to go back." Amara looked at the river. "Will it call again?" The old woman smiled. "When you forget to listen, perhaps." They began the slow walk back to the village. The path seemed easier now. The fireflies did not lead them this time. They simply floated around them like tiny lamps. The banana leaves whispered above. The soil felt cool and kind beneath Amara's feet. As they walked, Grandmother Naka told her small pieces of village memory. She told her about the year the rains came late and everyone shared seed. She told her about the old drummer who could make children fall asleep with one rhythm. She told her about Amara's mother stealing mangoes as a girl and blaming the monkeys. Amara laughed softly at that. The sound surprised her. Grandmother Naka smiled but did not say anything. Some things should not be pointed at too quickly. They reached the village just as the moon leaned westward. The cooking fires had gone low. The huts were quiet. Even the dogs had stopped turning in their sleep. Beneath the mango tree, the mat still waited. Grandmother Naka sat down with a small sigh. Amara sat beside her. Neither spoke for a while. The village breathed. The mango tree stood above them, patient as always. Then Amara said, "Grandmother, why do you sit here every night?" Grandmother Naka looked up into the branches. "Because this tree remembers everyone." Amara followed her gaze. The mango leaves moved gently against the stars. "How can a tree remember?" The old woman chuckled. "The same way a house remembers footsteps. The same way a river remembers voices. The same way the body remembers a song before the mind does." Amara leaned back against the trunk. The bark was rough and cool. Grandmother Naka touched the ground near one of the roots. "When your mother was born, her grandmother buried a small piece of clay here. When you were born, your father poured water at this root and thanked God for your life. When children leave the village, they often stand here first. When they return, even if they do not know why, they pass near this tree." Amara looked at the roots. So much had happened here. So many footsteps. So many goodbyes. So many returns. "And when you are gone?" Amara asked quietly. Grandmother Naka smiled with no fear in her face. "Then someone else will sit here." Amara's heart tightened. "I don't want to think about that." "Then don't think of it as loss," Grandmother Naka said. "Think of it as shade moving from one person to another." Amara rested her head gently against the tree. "I don't know how to be that kind of person." "What kind?" "The kind who gives shade." Grandmother Naka looked at her. "You already are." Amara shook her head. "No." "Yes," the old woman said. "You came back wounded, but you did not become cruel. That is shade. You speak softly to children even when you are tired. That is shade. You help Auntie Sarah carry water without waiting to be asked. That is shade. You sit with an old woman at night and listen to her stories. That too is shade." Amara was quiet. The bead rested warm in her palm. Grandmother Naka continued. "People think healing means becoming bright and strong all at once. But sometimes healing is simply becoming gentle again." A rooster stirred somewhere, confused by the moonlight, then went silent. Amara smiled. The night grew deeper. Grandmother Naka adjusted her shawl and began another story, not because Amara asked, but because the night still had room. She told the story of a fisherman named Olam who once tried to catch the reflection of the moon in a basket. Every night, Olam went to the river with his woven basket. He saw the moon floating on the water and thought it had fallen from the sky. He wanted to carry it home and hang it above his hut so his compound would never be dark. He dipped the basket into the river, but every time he lifted it, the moon slipped through the holes. Night after night, he tried. The villagers laughed kindly. "Olam," they said, "you cannot carry the moon in a basket." But Olam was stubborn. He patched the basket with leaves. He covered it with clay. He lined it with cloth. Still, if the moon escaped. One night, tired and sad, he sat by the river and said, "Moon, why won't you come home with me?" And the river answered, "Because I am already walking with you." Olam looked around and saw moonlight on his hands, moonlight on his shoulders, moonlight on the path back to his heart. He realized he did not need to possess the moon to receive its light. From that night on, Olam stopped trying to trap beautiful things. He simply walked under them. Grandmother Naka ended the story there. Amara smiled sleepily. That is a good story. It is a useful one, Grandmother Naka said. For people who try to hold everything. For people who forget that some blessings are meant to accompany us, not belong to us. Amara turned the bead in her fingers. The lesson entered her gently. She thought of the life she had wanted in town. The respect she had tried to earn. The certainty she had chased. The people whose approval she had carried like a heavy basket. Maybe she had been trying to hold the moon. Maybe she had forgotten to walk under its light. The old woman's eyes were half closed now, but her voice remained steady. Do you know why stories are told at night, Amara? Because people are less busy. Grandmother Naka smiled. That is one reason. What is the other? Because darkness teaches the ears to see. Amara sat with that. The world at night was different. Without the brightness of the sun, she noticed smaller things. The rhythm of insects. The shape of silence. The smell of cooling earth. The way moonlight made every ordinary thing holy. A clay pot became silver. A path became gentle. An old tree became a keeper of memory. A grandmother became a doorway. Grandmother Naka leaned her head back against the mango tree. When I was young, she said, I thought wisdom would arrive like thunder. Loud, powerful, impossible to ignore. But now I know wisdom comes more like dew. Quiet. Small. Resting on everything before you wake. Amara listened. The old woman's voice grew softer. Do not despise small peace, my child. Small peace is how a tired soul begins again. The village slept on. After some time, Amara asked, what should I do tomorrow? Grandmother Naka opened one eye. Tomorrow? Yes. Wake up. Amara laughed softly. That is all. Wake up. Sweep your doorway. Drink warm tea. Greet the morning. Help where you can. Rest when you must. Let the day be only one day. Amara looked down. I always feel like I must fix my whole life at once. That is why you are tired. Amara nodded. Grandmother Naka tapped her walking stick lightly against the ground. Life is not carried in one basket. It is carried in small handfuls. The words were simple. But they felt true. Amara repeated them silently. Small handfuls. A morning. A cup of tea. A swept doorway. A kind greeting. A story beneath a mango tree. The old woman reached for Amara's hand and closed it gently around the wooden bead. When you feel lost again, hold this and remember the river. Remember that not everything lost is gone forever. Some things are waiting for you to become quiet enough to find them. Amara nodded. I will. The night thinned slowly. Not sunrise yet. Only the faintest softening at the edge of the world. The stars remained, but they seemed farther away. The moon had lowered, resting now near the hills. Grandmother Naka grew quiet. Amara thought she had fallen asleep, but then the old woman spoke again. There is one more thing. Amara turned. Yes. Grandmother Naka looked at her with deep, steady eyes. Your mother's last wish was not that you become successful. Amara held her breath. It was not that you become admired, or rich, or important. The old woman placed a hand on Amara's cheek. It was that you remain kind to yourself. Amara closed her eyes. Those words entered the deepest part of her. Kind to yourself. She had been kind to others. Patient with children. Respectful to elders. Helpful to neighbors. But with herself, she had been harsh. She had spoken inwardly with a voice she would never use on another person. She had blamed herself for roads that ended. For doors that closed. For dreams that changed shape. For being tired. For needing to come home. Grandmother Knocker's thumb moved gently across her cheek. Your life is not spoiled because it became different from what you imagined. Amara opened her eyes. The old woman smiled. Sometimes a path bends because there is a river ahead. The first bird began to sing. Just one note. Then silence. Then another. The village remained mostly asleep, but morning had begun thinking about arriving. Amara looked around at the huts, the tree, the path, the sleeping world. She felt no sudden answer. No great plan. No bright certainty. But she felt something better for that moment. She felt safe enough to begin slowly. The wooden bead rested in her palm. The mango tree held her back. Grandmother Knocker sat beside her, warm and real. And the river, far away, continued its patient song. When the sun finally touched the tops of the banana leaves, Amara helped Grandmother Knocker stand. They walked toward the old woman's hut, where a small cooking fire would soon be lit. A rooster called properly now. Smoke began rising from one roof, then another. Women stepped quietly into the morning with water pots. Children turned in their sleep, not yet ready to wake. At Grandmother Knocker's doorway, the old woman paused. You should sleep now, she said. Amara looked surprised. But it is morning. So? Amara smiled. Grandmother Knocker lifted a finger. Rest does not ask the clock for permission. Amara laughed softly. I will sleep. Good. The old woman entered her hut, then turned back. And tonight, if the moon is still patient, come again. Amara nodded. I will. She walked to her own hut slowly. The doorway had been swept the day before, but a few dry leaves had gathered there in the night. She bent and picked them up one by one. Not because she had to. Not because anyone was watching. But because it felt like beginning. Inside, her mat waited. The room was simple. Clay walls. A small wooden stool. A folded cloth. A calabash of water. Sunlight entering softly through a small opening. Amara sat on the mat and opened her hand. The wooden bead lay in her palm. Small. Smooth. True. She tied it carefully onto a thread and placed it around her wrist. Then she lay down. Outside, the village woke gently. A pot was placed on stones. A child laughed in a dream. A goat bleated once. The wind moved through the mango tree. Amara closed her eyes. For the first time in a long while, she did not feel as if sleep was an escape. It felt like a place she was allowed to enter. And as she drifted, she heard, or thought she heard, the river humming far away. Not calling now. Only reminding. You are home. You are loved. You may rest. That evening, Amara woke to the smell of cooking smoke and the sound of children playing outside. The day had passed softly without asking much from her. For a moment, she did not know where she was. Then she saw the clay wall, felt the mat beneath her, and heard the slow voice of the village beyond the doorway. She touched the bead on her wrist. Memory returned, but gently. The river. The moon. Grandmother Knocker. Her mother's wish. Be kind to yourself. Amara sat up slowly. Her body felt heavy from sleep, but her heart felt clearer. Outside, the sky was turning gold. Women were stirring pots. Men were returning from gardens with hoes over their shoulders. Children chased one another between huts, their feet raising soft dust in the evening light. Amara stepped outside. A small girl named Lami ran past, then stopped. "Sister Amara," the child said, "Grandmother Naka said you should bring the small stool tonight." Amara smiled. "Did she?" "Yes. She said stories sit better when the listener is comfortable." Amara laughed. "Tell her I will come." Lami ran away, satisfied with her message. Amara washed her face with cool water and braided her hair simply. Then she helped Auntie Sarah peel cassava near the cooking fire. No one asked where she had gone at night. No one asked why her eyes looked like she had cried. Auntie Sarah only passed her a knife and said, "Sit here, my daughter. The cassava is too much for one pair of hands." So Amara sat. The work was ordinary. Peel. Turn. Peel. Place in the bowl. The cassava skins curled away in pale strips. The fire cracked softly. Auntie Sarah hummed an old song under her breath. For once, Amara did not rush. She let the evening be evening. When the food was ready, she ate with the others under the open sky. The meal was simple: cassava, beans, and greens cooked with onion. But it filled her warmly. Afterward, when the sky deepened and the first stars appeared, Amara carried a small stool to the mango tree. Grandmother Naka was already there. Of course she was. The old woman sat with her shawl around her shoulders, looking up into the branches as if reading words written in the leaves. "You came," she said. "I said I would. People say many things when the moon is kind." Amara smiled and placed the stool beside the mat. "I brought the stool. So I see. Tonight you may sit like someone who plans to stay." Amara sat. The village settled again. Children were called into huts. Cooking fires lowered. The river began its faraway murmur. Fireflies appeared in the grass like tiny pieces of fallen stars. Grandmother Naka looked at the bead on Amara's wrist. "It suits you." Amara touched it. "I feel like I am carrying her with me." "You are." They sat quietly. Then Grandmother Naka said, "Tonight I will tell you about the woman who planted songs." Amara leaned back. "Planted songs?" "Yes." And so the old woman began. "There was once a woman named Mala who lived at the edge of the village. She had no large field, no many goats, no fine clothes. But she had a voice that made even tired people stop and breathe. Mala sang while grinding millet. She sang while fetching water. She sang while sweeping her compound. And wherever she sang, people felt lighter. One season, Mala lost her voice. Not from sickness, but from sorrow. A sorrow so quiet that even her neighbors did not notice at first. She stopped singing while she worked. She stopped humming near the river. The village became the same, but not the same. People still walked, cooked, planted, and slept, but something gentle had gone missing from the air. One morning, Mala went to the old mango tree and told it, "I have lost my songs." The tree dropped one leaf. Mala picked it up. On the leaf, though no hand had written there, she saw a memory, her mother singing to her during a storm. The next day, she returned. The tree dropped another leaf. This one carried the memory of her brother laughing while they planted groundnuts. Day after day, the tree dropped a leaf, and each leaf carried one small memory of love, kindness, or joy. Mala did not sing at once. She simply collected the leaves. When the basket was full, she buried them near her doorway. The rains came. Then small green shoots appeared. And when the wind passed through them, they made a soft humming sound. Mala sat beside the shoots every evening and listened. Slowly, her voice returned. Not the same as before. Deeper. Kinder. Less eager to impress. More willing to comfort. From then on, people said Mala did not sing songs. She grew them. Grandmother Naka stopped there. The fireflies moved between the roots. Amara listened to the silence after the story. It was a good silence. The kind that lets meaning settle. Was Mala real? She asked. Grandmother Naka shrugged. All useful people are real somewhere. Amara smiled. What does the story mean? What did you hear? Amara thought for a while. That healing cannot be forced. Grandmother Naka nodded. And that sometimes we must collect small memories before we can find our voice again. The old woman smiled. Good. Amara looked at the village. What if the voice that returns is different? Then it is honest. A soft peace moved through Amara. The next days passed gently. Not perfectly. Some mornings, Amara woke with sadness sitting beside her like an old visitor. Some afternoons, she felt tired for no clear reason. Sometimes she remembered the town and the life she had hoped would bloom there, and her chest tightened. But now, she did not fight every feeling. She remembered the river. She remembered Grandmother Naka's words. You do not have to enter every room the past opens. She began to live in small handfuls. In the morning, she swept her doorway. She helped Auntie Sarah with cassava. She fetched water slowly, pausing to watch sunlight tremble on the river. She sat with children and showed them how to twist grass into tiny rings. She listened when old Msiketo told the same story twice. At night, she went to the mango tree. Every night, Grandmother Naka had a story. Some were funny in a quiet way. Some were sad, but gently sad, like rain on dry ground. Some were so old they seemed to have no beginning. There was the story of the tortoise who carried silence in a pot and learned that silence grows larger when shared kindly. There was the story of the woman who swept moonlight from her doorway every morning until she realized it was not dirt, but blessing. There was the story of the boy who thought the stars were holes in the sky and spent his life learning that light can come through what is broken. Amara listened. And slowly, without noticing, she began to sleep better. Her shoulders lowered. Her breathing deepened. Her smile returned in small pieces. The villagers noticed, but they did not make noise about it. They only made more room for her. One evening, after a soft rain had washed the dust from the leaves, Amara arrived beneath the mango tree before Grandmother Naka. The ground smelled rich and clean. Drops of water clung to the mango leaves. The sky was dark blue, and the moon was hidden behind a thin veil of cloud. Amara placed the mat carefully. She set the stool beside it. Then she waited. The village quieted. The fireflies came. But Grandmother Naka did not. Amara looked toward the old woman's hut. A small worry rose in her chest. She stood and walked there. Inside, Grandmother Naka was sitting on her bed, tying her shawl slowly around her shoulders. I am coming, the old woman said before Amara spoke. Are you well? Grandmother Naka smiled. I am old. That is not the same as unwell. Amara stepped inside. Let me help you. This time, the old woman did not refuse. Amara held her arm as they walked back to the mango tree. Grandmother Naka was lighter than Amara expected. Her steps were slow. Her breathing was soft but careful. When they reached the tree, Amara helped her sit. The old woman looked up at the branches. Oh, she said. The tree waited. Amara sat beside her, concern still resting in her heart. Grandmother Naka noticed. Do not hold worry too tightly, my child. It grows thorns. Amara tried to smile. I don't want anything to happen to you. Something is always happening to everyone. Grandmother. The old woman reached over and patted her hand. I am here tonight. Let tonight be enough. Amara breathed in. Then out. Tonight is enough. Grandmother Naka looked toward the river path. I have one story left that you must hear. Amara felt the air change. Not frightening. Only important. The old woman's voice became very soft. Long ago, there was a girl who believed she had arrived too late for her own life. Amara became still. She had gone far from home, searching for a place where her dreams could stand tall. But the world outside was not gentle with her. When she returned to her village, she carried shame in her bag and silence in her mouth. The cricket sang. Amara did not move. Grandmother Naka continued. She thought home would accuse her. But home did not accuse her. Home opened the door. Still, the girl did not enter fully. Her body returned, but her heart remained standing at the edge of the road. Amara's eyes filled. Grandmother. The old woman held up one gentle hand. Listen. Amara listened. One night, the river called the girl. It showed her that she had not failed. She had only become tired. It showed her that love had been waiting quietly around her. It gave her back a bead, a memory, and a blessing from her mother. Amara held the bead on her wrist. But the girl still had one thing to learn. Grandmother Naka turned to her. She had to learn that coming home was not the end of her story. It was the place where her story softened enough to continue. A tear slipped down Amara's cheek. The old woman smiled. One day, another tired soul will sit beneath this tree. Maybe a child. Maybe a woman. Maybe someone who thinks they are too broken to be welcomed. And they will need a voice to tell them that the river still remembers. That the moon is still patient. That gentleness can return. Amara shook her head slowly. I can't tell stories like you. Grandmother Naka chuckled. No one can tell stories like me. That is why you must tell them like you. Amara looked down. I don't know enough. You know tiredness. You know return. You know shame. You know kindness. You know the sound of the river at night. That is enough to begin. The clouds moved away from the moon. Silver light fell over the tree. Grandmother Naka leaned back, looking suddenly both very old and very peaceful. Stories are not carried by perfect people, she said. They are carried by people who have listened. Amara wiped her cheek. The old woman closed her eyes for a moment, then opened them again. Now you tell me one. Amara stared at her. Now? Yes. I don't have a story. Begin with what you see. Amara looked around nervously. The village slept softly. The mango tree stood above them. The fireflies moved in the grass. The river murmured far away. She took a breath. Then she began. There was once a village that became quiet slowly. Grandmother Naka smiled. Amara continued, her voice uncertain at first. Not all at once. First the children stopped running. Then the goats settled near the fence. Then the smoke from the cooking fires rose gently into the evening air. As she spoke, her voice steadied. She told of a mango tree that remembered everyone. She told of a river that collected lost things. She told of a girl who thought she had come home empty, only to learn that love had been waiting in doorways, in swept floors, in repaired wood, in warm food, and in the patience of an old woman. Grandmother Naka listened with her eyes closed. Not sleeping. Listening. When Amara finished, the old woman opened her eyes. "There is," she whispered. "The story has found another mouth." Amara smiled through her tears. The night seemed to approve. Even the cricket sounded softer. After that night, Grandmother Naka spoke less and listened more. Sometimes she still told stories. Sometimes she only gave Amara a title and asked her to begin. The calabash that refused to break. The woman who borrowed dawn. The child who counted fireflies. The road that came back home. At first, Amara stumbled. She laughed at herself. She forgot names. She started again. Grandmother Naka never corrected too quickly. She would only say, "Slow down. The story is not running away." So Amara slowed down. She learned to leave space between sentences. She learned that silence was not emptiness. She learned that a story could breathe. Soon the children began to gather again beneath the mango tree. Not many at first. Just Lami and two boys who claimed they were not sleepy. Then Auntie Sarah came with her basket. Then Mzee Keto sat nearby, pretending to fix a rope while listening to every word. Amara told gentle stories. Stories where rivers gave advice. Stories where the moon forgot its way and was guided home by fireflies. Stories where lonely people found family in unexpected places. Stories where old trees kept secrets until hearts were ready. And every story ended softly. Not always with everything solved, but with enough peace to sleep. One night, after Amara had told a story about a clay pot that learned its cracks could hold flowers, Lami crawled close to her and whispered, "Sister Amara, when I am sad, can I come sit here?" Amara looked at the child's small face. "Yes," she said. "Always." Grandmother Naka, sitting beside the tree, smiled. The seasons moved. The rains came fully, making the village green and fragrant. The river grew wide and brown, then settled again into silver evenings. Mangoes ripened and fell. Children grew taller. New grass was placed on old roofs. Seeds became food. Food became strength. Strength became another day. Amara stayed. Not because she had nowhere else to go, but because, for the first time in many years, she understood that staying could also be a journey. She began helping teach children in the mornings. Letters in the dust. Numbers counted with beans. Stories used to remember lessons. In the afternoons, she worked in the gardens or helped elders with small tasks. In the evenings, she sat beneath the mango tree. Sometimes Grandmother Naka sat beside her. Sometimes the old woman remained in her doorway, listening from a distance. And sometimes, when she was too tired, she slept before the stories began. On those nights, Amara would look toward her heart and speak a little softer, as if sending the story through the air to reach her dreams. Then came one full moon night, much like the first. The village became quiet slowly. The cooking fires lowered. The fireflies gathered. The river hummed. Amara sat beneath the mango tree with Lami leaning against her knee and two little boys lying on their stomachs in the dust. Auntie Sarah sat behind them. Mzee Keto leaned on his stick. Several others rested nearby, listening. Grandmother Naka's mat was empty. She was resting in her heart. Amara looked at the empty place and felt sadness rise, but it did not frighten her now. It was love wearing a quiet cloth. She touched the bead on her wrist. Then she began. Tonight, I will tell you about a grandmother who planted shade. The children became still. Amara's voice was calm. There was once an old woman who lived in a village watched over by a mango tree. She had no palace, no gold, no great drum to announce her name. But she had stories. And wherever she placed a story, someone found rest. As she spoke, the wind moved through the mango leaves. The moonlight rested on every face. The story moved slowly, warmly, like water finding its way through soft earth. She told of the old woman's hands, her patience, her laughter, her way of knowing when to speak and when to simply sit beside someone. She told of how the old woman taught the village that people are not healed by being rushed, but by being welcomed. She told of how shade is not only made by trees, but by kindness, memory, and listening. By the time she finished, no one spoke. The silence beneath the mango tree was full. Then from the direction of Grandmother Noka's hut, a soft voice called, "That one is useful." Everyone turned. Grandmother Naka was standing in her doorway, wrapped in her shawl, leaning on her stick. Amara stood quickly. But the old woman waved her down. "I had it," Grandmother Naka said. "The story worked well." Amara smiled, though tears shone in her eyes. Grandmother Naka looked at the gathered children. "Remember this. A good story does not keep you awake with fear. It helps your heart lie down." Then she went back inside. Those were the last words many of the children heard her say beneath the moon. Grandmother Naka lived for some time after that, softly, peacefully, like an evening fire becoming ember. She was not in pain. She was not afraid. She ate little, spoke gently, and listened often. Amara spent many afternoons with her. Sometimes they talked. Sometimes they sat in silence. One afternoon, Nazreen tapped lightly on the roof grass. Grandmother Naka said, "When I go, do not make the night heavy for the children." Amara's eyes filled. "Grandmother." "No, listen. Let grief be grief, but do not dress it in thunder. Tell them I have gone where all old stories go." "Where is that?" The old woman smiled. "Into the roots." Amara held her hand. "I will miss you." "Good," Grandmother Naka said. "Missing is proof that love had a place to sit." Amara cried quietly. Grandmother Naka squeezed her fingers. "But do not miss me so loudly that you cannot hear what I taught you." The rain continued. Soft. Steady. Kind. A few mornings later, before the sun rose, Grandmother Naka passed gently in her sleep. The village mourned her quietly. No screaming. No fear. Only songs, low and warm. Women swept the compound. Men gathered beneath the mango tree. Children placed flowers near the roots. Someone brought her mat and laid it where she had always sat. Amara tied her mother's bead more firmly around her wrist. Then, when evening came, she went to the mango tree. The whole village came with her. The moon rose slowly. The river hummed. The fireflies gathered in great numbers, more than anyone had ever seen. They blinked among the roots, in the grass, around the low branches, as if the stars themselves had come down to sit with them. Amara stood beneath the tree. Her heart hurt. But it was not the same kind of hurt she had carried when she first returned. This pain had love inside it. It did not make her empty. It made her grateful. She looked at the people. Then she sat on Grandmother Noka's mat. For a moment, she could not speak. The village waited. No one rushed her. At last, Amara took a breath. The village became quiet slowly, she began. And everyone listened. She told the story of a young woman who came home tired. She told of a grandmother who knew the moon was patient. She told of a river that remembered what people had lost. She told of a bead, a mango tree, a mother's blessing, and the small kindnesses that bring a person back to themselves. She did not make the story heavy. She let it walk gently. She let it carry sorrow without dropping peace. When she reached the end, she looked up into the mango leaves. And the grandmother did not disappear, Amara said softly. She became shade. She became root. She became the quiet part of every story told with kindness. The wind moved through the tree. One mango leaf loosened and fell. It turned slowly in the moonlight and landed on the mat beside Amara. The children gasped softly. Amara picked it up. She smiled. Not because she was no longer sad, but because she understood. Some goodbyes are not doors closing. Some are shades changing places. From that night on, Amara became the storyteller beneath the mango tree. Years passed, but slowly, as years do in villages that listen to the moon. Children grew and brought their own children. Roofs were repaired. New paths were made. Old songs returned. The river changed its banks after one rainy season, but it never stopped humming at night. And Amara, once the tired girl who thought she had come home with nothing, became the woman people came to when their hearts were too full. She never claimed to have answers. She only had a mat, a patient voice, and stories that knew how to sit beside pain. When a young man lost his way, she told him about Olem, who tried to carry the moon in a basket. When a mother felt tired, she told her about Mala, who planted songs. When children feared the dark, she told them darkness teaches the ears to see. When someone returned home ashamed, she told them the river collected lost things. And sometimes, when the moon was full, she walked alone to the river. She would sit on the same flat stone where Grandmother Noka had once sat. She would listen to the water. And now and then, in the silver movement of the river, she would see small things. Her mother's smile. Her father's shoulders. Grandmother Noka's hands. The girl she had been. The woman she was becoming. She never chased the images. She let them come. She let them go. And she always returned lighter. One night, many years later, Lami, now grown, sat beside Amara beneath the mango tree. A little girl slept in Lami's lap, her mouth open, her hand resting on her mother's arm. The moon was full. The village was quiet. Lami looked at Amara and said, "Auntie, do you think the river still calls people?" Amara smiled. "When they are ready." "How does someone know?" Amara looked toward the path glowing faintly between the banana trees. "They become tired of running from their own heart." Lami was quiet. Then she said, "Then if they are afraid." Amara touched the bead on her wrist. It had darkened with age but remained smooth. "Then they should take someone gentle with them." Lami nodded. The child in her lap sighed in sleep. The mango leaves whispered. Amara leaned back against the tree and looked at the moon. She could almost hear Grandmother Noka's voice. "Slow down. The story is not running away." So Amara slowed down. She breathed with the village. She listened to the crickets. She watched fireflies blink near the roots. And after a while, she began another story. "There was once a little light," she said, "that thought it was too small to help anyone see." Lami smiled. The child slept deeper. The village listened. And the night, kind and patient, opened its arms. Far beyond the hearts, the river moved beneath the moon. It carried reflections of stars. It carried fallen leaves. It carried the quiet prayers of people who had no words left. And perhaps, in its own gentle way, it carried every soft thing that had ever been lost and found again. A laugh. A memory. A mother's blessing. A grandmother's story. A tired heart's first peaceful sleep. So now, as this story rests beneath the mango tree, let your own heart become quiet too. Let the day loosen its hands from your shoulders. Let every worry become like smoke rising from an evening fire, drifting upward, thinning into the soft night air. You do not have to solve everything before you sleep. You do not have to carry the whole road tonight. Let your breath slow. Let your body feel heavy and safe. Imagine the moon above a quiet African village, the grass-thatched huts resting under silver light, the banana leaves moving gently in the wind, the river humming far away, and fireflies glowing softly near the roots of the old mango tree. Grandmother's mat is still there. The story is still warm. The night is patient. And you, just like Amara, may rest. Sleep gently now. The village is quiet. The river remembers. The moon is watching kindly. And beneath the mango tree, peace is waiting for you. Tea.